bass like this. He's like this. He's like this. He's like
Hello everybody, it is Friday, September 25th, 2015, and this is Radio Tokyo! Yay! Hooray! It's our Friday show. We're so happy to be here. Have an interesting topic today, and there is no Danny today. I think she's still been kidnapped. But we have Nick. I'll go ahead and sigh for you because I know everybody enjoys sighing when Nick's on the show. But yeah, Nick's here. I'm here. Hi Nick, how are you?
Hello, everyone. That would mean they sigh most of the shows on Friday, so... Well... I guess I explained their viewing rating.
What?
But how is everyone today?
What? What was that nonsense you just spoke about you being important?
How is everybody today doing?
I don't know, Nick, but I certainly don't hear them answering you because they never do. They never do.
They should. They should.
Well,
they
they never do because I don't see. Honestly,
they should tell us how they're doing. They should tell us about their day. They should tell us what they want to hear us talk about. That's what they should be doing.
Well, see, maybe all of our listeners really, really hate small talk, and you know that might be your forte, but no one else seems to actually give a damn. And you know when you are like, "Hi, how's your day?" And they're like, "Oh God, he's talking."
I can't help that I genuinely care about people. That's so wrong.
You know who else genuinely cares about people?
The Pope?
Actually, yes, the Pope. And it's actually interesting you would answer with that, because that's our topic for the day. Thanks for ruining my segue there, Nick. Gee.
You left it so open, I couldn't resist.
Well, at least I'm not going to cry like John Boehner.
That's John Boehner.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Boehner. I realize that, him actually listening to the show is like there's a very, very small chance he would ever hear what I'm saying. But it actually does make me quite sad that he has decided to resign at the end of October, especially after yesterday. And initially, when I saw it, a lot of the reasons being given were supposedly because he was tired of being harassed by other Republicans, and because he was tired of being told that he was not doing his job, and
He's been fighting the Republican Party the entire time he's been Speaker.
He actually has, and I think the beauty of John Boehner is not in the fact he's seemingly the one of the few, if not the only Republican that's actually in office right now that actually has any goddamn common sense. It's the fact that all the times his contemporaries are jumping on his ass about something he's done, it's because he's not doing what they tell him to do. It's beautiful. I love it. He's like the only person who's like, look, the Democrats here, they're not the enemy. We have to work with them. And people like my congressman, Mr. Louie Gohmert. God damn. Speaking of people who don't actually step down when they say they will, people like him just get angrier and angrier and angrier. And I was actually, give me a second. I'm going to look up what he had to say yesterday about meeting the Pope, because it was actually quite interesting.
Sure.
Okay, first off, this is what he had to say about Boehner stepping down. My fervent prayers are with the country at this defining moment. It's past time that we, as a body, stand firmly for those who are being oppressed by government and take up the torch of liberty to ensure this flame of freedom is not extinguished for the generations that follow us. How much bullshit is in that statement coming from Louie Gohmert?
That is terrifying. Well, how? Okay, I know people have their little qualms with the government sometimes. I know the government is not exactly the greatest thing ever sometimes. But how exactly are you being super oppressed, repressed, whatever you want to say? Please tell me, someone, how? What exactly are you being denied most of the time?
His Christian freedoms are being repressed because evil atheists like me don't want him to be in America. Now, I actually had a very well. Speaking of atheism, uh, yes, everybody, I'm an atheist. I'm sorry, I'm an agnostic atheist though. So if you can convince me God's real, I'll be on your side. But but for right
Oh,
now, no, I'm not.
I no, I was saying I should say for this show to let everyone know I am a Roman Catholic since we're talking about the Pope. I'm not a very strict Roman Catholic and not exactly I'm not going to church every Sunday and everything, but I am still a Roman Catholic, so just a little disclaimer.
Which is awesome. Like, see, I have absolutely no problem with you being Catholic, like you have no problem with me being an atheist, because you're a decent human being, and I'm a decent human being. Now, granted, we may not be the best people ever, but we try really hard to be good as possible. And I think, honestly, with what Pope Francis had to say yesterday, that seems to be what everyone needs to do. Now, one of the things I noticed is oh my God, on Facebook. Um, Actually, first, let me say something. A friend of mine that I went to school with uh, basically admonished her atheist, agnostic, and non-Christian friends today on Facebook, saying that we all need to band together and do something. Like feed the homeless or stuff. Just something along those lines, because all the groups around here that do that are all religious entities, and she's aware of the fact that there's a lot of us who donate to charity, myself included. Or we'll take food to our elderly neighbors, or we'll help them clean up their yard. Whatever we can to help somebody, but we don't have like a group. And there's two problems with this. One, uh, we're likely to be not denied a specific area to do that in, and two, we wouldn't have public support. And who are we not getting public support from? It's people like Mr. Louis Gohmert, who doesn't really like atheists. He doesn't like anyone who might possibly vote Democrat, because for some reason being a liberal is a bad thing. And that actually ties into what I was going to say earlier. Yesterday, all over Facebook, all over the news, especially from Fox News. Well, not exactly Fox News. They didn't. I don't recall them coming out and saying it, but it's just kind of habit to me to blame stupid shit on Fox News. Um, there was this big outcry from the conservative portion of the country about, excuse me, how the Pope is a fucking socialist. Excuse me, have you people actually listened to what he's saying? One of the things that got the loudest applause in his speech to Congress yesterday was repeating the golden rule, which is from the Gospel of Matthew. In fact, it's in the red words. If you have a red word edition of the Bible, it's something Jesus said: "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." Now, I'm sorry, as an atheist, I will sit here and debate anybody. I don't care who you are. I will have a big, lengthy conversation with you, and I'm going to be right, because I know more about your religion than you do. Thank you, Christopher Hitchens, for that little phrase. But it makes me sad to see people who are supposed to be Christians saying, "Well, he's a socialist." Jesus was a socialist, if you want to look at it that way. And it kind of pisses me off. It really pisses me off.
One of the things that I noticed, oh, echo. There we go. Okay. But no, one of the interesting things, because I was watching CNN's coverage of the speech, and or was it? I don't remember. It was something, but they were saying caring for the poor has become political, taking care of your neighbors has become political. Just these confounding, just ridiculous things are now considered political by people, and it's just mind-blowing how just sheerly stupid it is. And
It is, especially because this is
I don't know how to react. I don't. I'm like, what is wrong with people? What is going on?
what bothers me the most about it is supposedly this is a Christian nation, right? From what I understood, yeah, it's a Christian
Right.
nation. But you have people who don't want to act like Christians, people who don't want to take care of the elderly, don't want to take care of the sick, and
Most of the
speaking,
people that say it's a Christian nation do not act like Christians.
they
I'm
don't,
going to say that now.
and that makes me really, really sad to think about that. But what I was going to say is, if you want proof this is not a Christian nation, look at the U.S. Congress. Actually, don't no. In fact, look at the Republicans in Congress and maybe the Senate, because those people who have shut down the government before over health care, there's people who are threatening to shut down the government again over health care. And yes, I'm talking about Planned Parenthood. Everyone may not be in favor of abortion, and that's fine. I consider myself a pro-lifer, but that extends to uh, before the child is born and after the child is born. But I also support abortion because I understand there may be people out there who have conceived a child because, I don't know, they were raped, or they may not want to bring a child that's already being, that doctors can already say this child is gonna have a very short lifespan because of whatever reasons. They may not want to be willing to bring a child in this world because of that. I get that. That's fine. That's understanding. But the problem is, uh, people who say, well, we need to have abstinence only education. We've had abstinence only education. It doesn't work. It never has worked. Uh,
It really doesn't.
and, there's this whole, see, you being Catholic, you're aware of this. The Catholic Church does not support contraception. Well, if you don't want to have aborted babies, and telling people don't fuck one another is not stopping, it's not working, maybe comprehensive contraception education will work. I don't know. Maybe medication will work. Oh, wait, fuck me, it actually does work, because when you teach people, hey, you can get diseases like this, you can have children that you're not prepared to have, and on and on and on and on and on and on, it actually works. The more it's a proven fact, the more education someone has about these issues, the less likely they are to have problems with them. And it just astounds me to see people, Republicans, who are wanting to pull away the half a billion. It's like $550 million, I think, a year, whatever it is, that the federal government puts into Planned Parenthood because they perform something like 30,000 abortions a year. Now, that's what did we say last week? Like 3% of their total business every year.
Also,
The
a
rest
very
of it,
small portion of abortions.
do what?
It's also a very small portion of abortions, I believe.
It is. It is. There's, I think, something like 1.5 million in the country every year, and Planned Parenthood is responsible for maybe 5% of those, something like that. But it bothers me to hear people say that they're against it, and then to defund it just because of that one. Excuse me, just because of that one issue. Uh, when like 97% of Planned Parenthood's business is teaching people how to take care of themselves. It's providing healthcare services, HIV exams, pelvic exams, um, colon cancer exams, cervical cancer exams, breast cancer. Now, granted, I understand, most Planned Parenthood clinics do not actually perform the mammograms there because, one, mammography equipment is fucking expensive, and two, they can actually get like a mobile clinic to come visit them. But the way they work is like most doctor's office, they don't specialize in that, and they give you what's called a referral. Now, see, my question is, anyone who's upset about Planned Parenthood, not performing mammograms, have you ever gotten a referral to a specialist from your normal doctor? Because that's exactly what Planned Parenthood does. I mean, they've estimated that they're able to prevent something like 300,000 abortions a year just from providing limited education, like contraceptive knowledge and birth control and stuff like that. Now, where are you going to draw the line? Now, sure, 3,000, whatever it is, abortions they perform a year, sure, that's bad. But do you want to see that number go up? No, most people who are pro-life would say no, but it's
Also, there's another important point here, in that making abortions illegal or restricting them does not stop abortions from happening. And it creates a lot more problems when women are trying to do the abortions themselves or get unqualified people to do them. And it's not pretty. They get infections. Their reproductive organs are ruined sometimes. They die. It's not good when you try to make it illegal and they can't just go to the doctor and do it. It's a very, very bad thing.
See, what I'm wondering, and also for those of you watching right now, or when this is recorded, yes, the graphic on screen just changed because I realized I did not put up our actual live banner. It was on our station break one. I'm sorry about that. But anyway,
You're a failure.
I know you are, but what am I? Now shut up. I'm making a
A
point
failure.
here. I noticed it bothers me, Tyr will say, well, we can't help people with this. The way it used to be, I'm talking maybe 100 years ago, if you didn't want to have a child, like you had sex with somebody, or you were raped, whatever, and you didn't want to have a child, there was actually a product that you can still buy today. It's called Lysol. Used to be in a liquid form in a glass bottle, and that used to be the number one way to ensure that you could never have a child, because the semen that's inside the woman's vagina, it would be rinsed out with Lysol. Lysol. Lysol, goddammit. Look under your kitchen sink and look at that disinfectant spray that kills 99.9% of bacteria. Think of how many children were murdered before they were even conceived with Lysol. Lysol
Yeah,
used to be used to kill babies.
not just the current baby, all the babies.
Yes,
All
all
the
the babies. All the babies forever, because there was a very high chance that the Lysol would eat away the uterine lining and would destroy everything inside the woman's reproductive organs, because she could just she burn herself from the inside out to get rid of a child she didn't want. And then there's of course the coat hanger method that people talk about and make jokes about all the time. Well, here's a coat hanger, stuff like that. I mean,
Not a funny joke.
there's even a scene in Rob Roy where Rob's wife is actually raped by British officers, and of course they live near a lake, or like a big lake, and she just very calmly walks out of her house as it's burning down because they set fire to the house after they raped her. So she very calmly, walks out to the lake, walks up to about where she's waist high, pulls her skirts up, and washes herself out with dirty, nasty, filthy lake water. Now, what if she had gotten an infection? What if she had died? Who knows?
She
It
probably
doesn't
would
matter.
have in real life.
Do what?
She probably should have in real life.
Probably. Yeah. Now I know people go swimming all the time, but she's actively forcing whatever's in the water inside of her to clean herself out. Now that's fine and dandy, and it's actually disgusting as shit to think of people doing that. But I mean, come on, really, what's the other option? Overpopulation is the biggest concern. Now, it was estimated when I was in high school that the Earth can only sustain 12 billion people. Before I die, I'm talking about the next 30 to 40 years or so, assuming nothing happens and kills me before then. But within my expected lifespan, we're going to reach 12 billion people. I mean, we're already at 7 billion now, and we were 6 billion when I was in high school. Like my senior year, I think, is when it reached 6 billion. I remember like, wow, that's kind of astounding. But now here it is, 14 years later. I just lost track of time. Damn, I'm old. But yeah, 14 years later, and we've already added another billion people, and we're going to be adding 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 billion more before I'm dead. That's insane. It's insane. I'm sorry, but abortions kind of help with it, kind of help with keeping that down. But you need, like all these years, people have been saying, how are we going to help the starving people in Africa? Well, the starving people in Africa, by and large, are Catholic or Muslim, and they're told that contraception is bad, so they continue to have babies and continue to have babies over and over and over again. And they have such a bad problem over there, particularly with AIDS and HIV and starvation and everything else all together, that you see babies who are, who somehow are born and they die, you know, before the age of 5 because one, they're diseased, and two, they can't get enough to eat. And then you have all these nice people over here in great Christian America who is like, well, fuck them. They need to get a job, and that bothers me. It really, really, really does actually truly bother me that is the response that we give is, well, just get a job.
Also, there's a since we're talking about the Pope and Christianity and religion, Jesus did not tell people to get a job. He literally showed them how to get a job. He literally taught people how to fish and things like that.
See, what I want to know, and this is actually one of the reasons I'm voting for Bernie Sanders because he's the only politician saying this. He pointed out more than once. Well, he hadn't said it directly, but you can make a lot of comparisons between what he says and what Jesus said in his different sermons that are in the four Gospels. One of them is that Bernie Sanders is entirely against the grossly high uh, wealth inequality in the country. We live in the most wealthy country that's ever existed in mankind's history, but yet we have I think it's like 34% of people in the country are below the poverty line, and we have problems with starvation and all those other things, and we don't help anybody. and all we do is like we discussed. I think it was one on our Monday show, where by the way, for those who are wondering why there was no Wednesday show, that was because the Monday show went so long. I decided, I'll just skip Wednesday. Plus, there was nothing going on that worth talking about, so that's out of the way. But like we discussed Monday, and I'm pretty sure we've mentioned it before. There have been instances, well, not instances where rich people get richer and richer and richer, and now you have like the top 1/10 of 1% of the country actually owns as much money as everybody else does combined, but yet we don't do anything to feed our poor. And I hear from conservatives all the time, well, why aren't we doing something to help people? Why are we helping all these people, these refugees, and all these immigrants that come over here? and all the people that do this, all the people that do that. Like, why are we giving so much money to all these other countries, but we don't help anyone here? Do you know why? Do you know why we don't do it? It's because nobody wants to do it. Charity begins at home, and that's from the Bible.
Yep. It's there are so many strange contradictions, and I kind of did a little bit of research on some of these things because I was like, how did modern Christianity get to this point where a lot of people are saying, well, wealth is a representation of your godliness and things like that, because it literally doesn't make sense with almost anything in the Bible. Like Jesus even literally says you have a much better chance of getting into heaven if you're poor than if you're rich. So, and there are just some really interesting parts about some Protestant teachings and how they tied, wealth and making wealth to part of being good Christians, and where they try to tie capitalism to Christianity, and it's just there's a lot of it's really awkward, because if you just read the Bible, where it basically just says care for the poor, help the poor, help them live better lives.
See,
Treat them like you would want to be treated.
yesterday,
It's not that hard.
excuse me, yesterday after Francis spoke to Congress, I I didn't listen to it when it was live, but I went back and listened to it all later, and I actually found Bible verses all from Matthew, all from the book of Matthew, that speak about what he had to say. When he talked about the Syrian refugees and how we need to be concerned about the lives of other people and treat them, like a human being and everything else. That's Matthew 7:12. Matthew 7:12 happens to be the golden rule. When he talked about immigration here in the United States and how we need to be hospitable, Matthew 25:35, and also you can back that up with the passage from Leviticus. The same book that forbids you from eating shrimp and wearing mixed clothing and stuff like that. Leviticus 19:33 and 34. And when,
Leviticus is a very weird book.
it
It's a
is
weird
it is,
book.
but it works. And when Francis discussed, helping the poor and sick, Matthew 5:42, when he talked about being pro-life and being against the death penalty, Matthew 6:26, and also 1 Corinthians 3:16. Now, if any of our viewers, want to go look those up, that's awesome. I sincerely hope you do. But that's just the main points of what he talked about, and you can even tie that in to how he's against, having all the weaponry that we have here, and sort of in a way bringing in climate change, even though climate change is more of a common sense thing, because if you don't have a planet here, then you don't really need to be here, I guess. I don't know. Like
Well,
it's
I
really
mean,
strange.
you can definitely interpret that. At least in the Bible, it says that God basically says, "Take care of the earth." I mean,
That's actually what Adam and Eve
it,
were put here for. Ooh, I
yeah,
went there.
literally, just he literally says to Adam and Eve, "Take care of the earth. It's our job. Take care of the animals. Take care of the earth." That's the you know,
And instead,
and
what happened was Adam worked his ass off, and Eve sat at home eating bonbons and watching TV. And then she became a nagging bitch, and she's the first sinner. So just screw Eve, screw women as a whole. I hate people who say stuff shit like that, because it's one, yeah, Eve fucked up. But look at all the fucks ups that happened after that. You know, the important ones, because pretty much all of Adam and Eve children were wiped away except for, Noah during the flood. So all that stuff didn't matter. It's what happened after that that should matter. And look at all the fuck ups in there. I mean, come on now. Read the book, people. Read the book. It's better than the movie.
It is. There's a lot of drama.
I mean,
Or
like
battles.
it's kind of strange, that uh, essentially the most powerful Christian on the planet right now was telling a group of other people, uh, 270 of which I think identify as Christian. Uh, you need to be
It's a
better at.
large majority.
Yes, I mean, there's I think 3 total members of Congress, and I'm talking House and Senate combined, that are not Christian. Like 3, something like that. It's less than 10, in fact. So essentially, what happened is you have someone, like I said, who is the most powerful Christian on the planet, telling these people, you need to be better Christians. You need to quit saying you're a Christian nation if you're not going to act like it. And when you mentioned John Boehner earlier, I think that is actually why he chose to step down today, because he was being, of course, lampooned for crying after speaking to the Pope. And I'm like, John Boehner's Catholic. He got to speak to the Pope. I mean, damn, I would cry if I had the time to speak to Francis. And I'm not even a Catholic. I'm not a Christian. I'm an atheist. I would cry.
When I heard that he resigned, echo. There we go. Okay, thank you. When I heard that he resigned, my first inclination and thought was, did the Pope do that? And when I heard his speech and how he was talking about the Pope, I immediately said the Pope did do that. And I started laughing really, really hard. And I'm sorry, John Boehner, I am. I don't hate you or anything. But it was just... It was like... I'm trying to think of how to say this. It was like he finally realized of how much of a fuck up he's been, even though he's been trying to not be a fuck up. But it's just amazing that it was like, oh my god, here's someone that actually is doing the things that I should be doing. I am so ashamed of myself that I need to resign. That's basically what happened.
That's about what I got out of it. Now, I know he's talked before about resigning, and his reasoning is that him staying in office too long would be a bad thing and it would cause a lot of problems. Well, you've been there for 25 years. If you felt that way, you could have stepped down a long time ago. But no, he's worried about it causing all kinds of problems. And like I kind of said earlier, he's essentially one of the, if not the only Republicans that's in Congress right now who actually does listen to what people have to say. Now he may not be someone that everyone agrees with on everything, but he is actually a decent person, and it's kind of sad to see him go. But yes, speaking to the Pope yesterday, because he talked about it in his resignation speech.
Also, did you get to watch the speech?
Banners? Yes.
No, the Pope's.
Yes, or the biggest part of it.
Because something I noticed, and it was really strange watching, because Biden was getting really emotional too. I saw that.
Yes, Biden's also Catholic, by the way.
Yeah, but the weirdest thing was when I was watching Boehner is he looked so sad and depressed the entire speech, and I couldn't figure out why. And then basically today kind of I guess helps me understand why he was so sad and depressed. It was
Well,
because
see,
he realized just how unchristian this Christian nation has become.
like it's actually comforting to me to think that that's what happened, and I really do hope that's what it was. Is that he's had a change of heart, but I just wish other people would have the same change of. I mean, now it's not that I'm saying I want to live in a Christian nation. No, I don't think we need to live in a religious oligarchy like that. At all. I really don't. But
But
if people are
if
going
you
to
want to live with Christian values and you want to say that we're a Christian nation, or we did please act like Christians at least.
see, that was actually what I was about to say. The truth is, and I don't actually vocalize this fact a lot that often, but I'm probably more Christian than most of the Christians that I know. And I'm not a Christian. I haven't been for some time now. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven. I damn sure don't believe in hell. But yet, all the red words in there that says to be nice to everybody, it's taken me a while to get to where I'm nice to everybody, or I try to be. But compared to some people who claim to be Christian, I'm more Christ-like than you are. You might want to get on working on that because I'm not even part of your religion.
And Christian values are good values in general. And probably the thing that I kind of objected to the most during the Pope's speech was when he was talking about family and how he's concerned about family, and I guess it was mostly because of the gay marriage is legal now. But even that objection, I was like, well, I mean, gay couples can still form happy traditional families. They really can. I mean, gay marriage does not really violate traditional marriage other than it's just a woman and a woman, or a man and a man, or whatever combination you want to put together.
Well, see, the interesting thing is that even most Christians don't realize that the Bible does not actually define marriage as a man and woman. Now, granted, Jesus said something about a man will leave his family and cling to his wife and stuff like that. Yes, it says things like that. But throughout the rest of it, particularly in the Old Testament, it actually doesn't define it at all. It defines marriage as being a covenant, and a covenant both then and now is a legally binding agreement, which means that you're not marrying for love. Essentially, you're marrying for money and to increase your social status or to, gain some kind
And
of benefit.
reproduction.
And
And
every
reproduction.
marriage in the Bible, particularly the Old Testament, where you hear about that, they're married to their cousins, they're married to their cousins' wives, or their brothers' wives, or their aunt, or so on and so on and so on. Or sometimes they have multiple spouses, and God was perfectly okay with that. Why all of a sudden is it just one man, one woman, nothing else? That's because, like communist China, we're trying to control people.
It's just, I mean, in large part and in general, I really loved the Pope's speech, and it was really cool to see. It was really awesome. I loved almost everything about the Pope's visit. One of the coolest things to me was when they were actually because I live in DC, so we had a lot of coverage on it. And they were following the motorcade, and they had I guess it was a security guy or something on our local news, and he was describing the difficulty of the job of the Secret Service, because Pope Francis does like to get out into the crowd, and he'll just do things that aren't scheduled or planned for. And the little car that the Pope was driving around in, which was hilarious to watch because it was surrounded by all these giant SUVs and police bikes and things, and he's in this little tiny car, this little black car, and it was just funny. And they were like, yeah, they don't like that he can open the windows. They don't like that he can open the door. And the moment he said that, the car was driving by and all 4 windows were down and open. And you can just visibly see him cringe and just be like, he's like, oh God.
See, I actually think it's wonderful that he does that. I mean, it's actually
Oh yeah.
impressive. I mean, not just because hey, it's the Pope, look at me, but it's the fact that hey, it's the frickin' Pope, man. He wants to connect to people, and like yesterday, I laughed my ass off when I heard this because this is beautiful. This is beautiful. He was asked by Boehner, Biden, Pelosi, and a bunch of other people that are in Congress, House and Senate, if he would have lunch with them yesterday, and Francis turned them down. And he went to a homeless shelter and fed people, and then conducted a real quick mass for them.
And
I
he
mean,
served them too.
I mean, yes, he served them food. I mean, come on now. It's strange to see it, and the reaction that stuff like that has gotten is like, well, he's snubbing us. How dare he? Particularly from Republicans. My God, there are people who are Republican, who are Christian, who are Catholic, who skipped out on hearing him speak yesterday because they don't agree with him. I mean, you're in the same religion. He is your religious leader. He's been asked to come speak, and you're not going to go listen to him. You're not going to avail yourself of the opportunity to possibly meet the man. That's crazy.
I wasn't shocked at all when I heard about the things, because it's not like I very closely follow the goings on of the Catholic Church, but I do tend to pay more attention during when they elect the Pope and things like that, especially since we've had two elections in over the last couple of years. Which is weird because we had John Paul II for so long, who was another pope I really like. Benedict was kind of meh to me.
Benedict was a Nazi youth. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, Benedict was an oddball, I'd say.
So, you had traditional Pope and John Paul, and then you had, essentially the rock star Pope, and everyone loves him, everyone wants to see him, everything. And then you had the Hitler Youth.
Yeah, I love John Paul II.
And now you have Jesus 2.0, and people don't seem to have agree with him. I really don't get. I really don't get. Why people don't agree with that. I mean, goddamn. Like I said, I'm an atheist. I enjoyed hearing him speak to Congress. I think that was wonderful. Now, I believe in separation of church and state. I don't think we need to have religion and politics mixed. But the frickin' Pope went and spoke to Congress, and I'm okay with that. If I'm okay with it, everyone else should be okay with it, because I recall earlier this year we had Benjamin Netanyahu, who was invited without, being invited by the president, without the president even being questioned whether he approved that or not, come to speak. And a lot of people didn't go, and the people who didn't go to that were just publicly shamed, like, how dare you not go and listen to Benjamin Netanyahu, because Israel can be our ally. Why can't the Pope? Oh, that's right, because we don't agree with him on political issues. That shouldn't be political.
I have no problems with Echo. Echo. There you go. Right? No? Yes? Still echo. Technical problems.
I don't know what technical problems you're talking about. I don't hear anything.
I know, because it's on my end here. Anyways. I have no problems with religious leaders making speeches or talking or, preaching values, because 99% of religions teach the same thing, which is take care of people, be good people, don't be assholes. And spirituality is an important factor to a lot of people. There's nothing wrong with that. When it's wrong is when we make policy decisions on just abstract rules that are, violate the rights of people. Just like restricting marriage to only a man and a woman and a woman, and denying healthcare, things like that. But there's nothing wrong with people learning, like the Pope saying, hi, be good people. Take care of your neighbors. Take care of the poor. How is that bad?
See, one of the things along that line that actually bothers me is, for some reason, people in the United States are very, 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 very afraid of Muslims because, our leaders have taught us that these are evil people and that they worship a false god and whatnot. One of the 5 pillars of Islam, I cannot remember the term for this, I am so sorry, is actually to give to the poor. And by give to the poor, I don't mean, you go give $1 to a homeless man. No, 2% of your total earnings every year, 2% every year has to go to helping the poor. And you're supposed to actually go out and do nice things for people who are in need. And I pissed a ultra conservative friend of mine off to the point that he no longer speaks to me. This is someone I've been friends with for nearly 20 years, because he was saying that liberals in the United States, like me, are actually akin to ISIS, because we want to do this and this and this and this. I said, do you realize that ISIS wholeheartedly does the building, the winning of hearts and minds thing, because their members, when they're not, killing people that they don't agree with, they're building hospitals, they're building schools, they're providing food, they're getting medicine and stuff to people who are in need, because that's how they're taking care of the population that they're trying to convert. And that's the same shit that we did in, we did it in Germany, we did it in Japan, we did it in Korea, we did it in Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, everywhere we have been. It's been our policy to try and get people to be on our side.
Actually, no. See, here's the weird thing. We didn't do it in all of those places. We only did it in the places where we actually won the hearts and souls and minds of the people, which would be Korea, Japan, and Germany. In Vietnam and other such places like Iraq and stuff, we kind of more or less just said, hi, we're here. You're free now. Go do whatever you want.
Well, see, like, it wasn't, traditional winning of hearts and minds, but we had soldiers who would, bring candy and stuff like that to locals. I mean, what I'm getting at is it wasn't exactly policy. In Vietnam, it was policy because he wanted to win the population over.
Wait, hold on. I'm not saying that certain people didn't try really hard to win the hearts and minds of people and did great acts and did great bravery. I'm saying, as a general policy, for some reason, after the Korean War, we've moved away from the idea that We need to win the hearts and minds of people. I don't know why. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. But instead of, building hospitals and building schools and trying to educate people in those countries and, protecting them, hint, hint, Iraq, where there are so many problems with that. But that's another day. But for some reason, we went away from all of that. And then our enemies started doing that. And guess what? It works, people. If you want to get people to, be your friends and peaceful and allies, you, you need to help them. Literally what you need to do. You don't just give them a bunch of weapons and say, hey, go at it. It doesn't work.
See, what I think actually happened is, and this is something you can look into on your own if you want to. Uh, if you notice, after Korea, which is really the last time it was policy to do the hearts and minds thing, and I mean, like I said, we did it in Vietnam. It wasn't, an unheard of thing to help people. But Vietnam
Well,
is also
Vietnam was like
Vietnam is also where we had some of the worst atrocities the United States ever committed outside of firebombing
and
Tokyo and killing millions of people and dropping nuclear bombs in Japan. But
Vietnam was very half-assed. I'll put it like that.
it was. But Vietnam was also a fight against communism, and from about 1953 or so onward, that became U.S. policy was to, beat communism wherever it existed. And uh, by the way, one of the pillars of communism and socialism is helping people who are in need. Hint, hint. So because the communists and socialists were doing that, oh, we can't do that, which is kind of strange to think about it. But
Because we were doing that. It doesn't. This is where strict ideological philosophy and us against them and all these stupid things just annoy the hell out of me.
don't you love America and all of our uh, wonderful things that we do for people who are in need? I mean, like welfare and food stamps and all those programs that are consistently having money pulled away from them because we can't help those in need, but yet we're a Christian nation. I actually understand why John Boehner resigned. I really do. And I
I
think
do
if I was
too.
him, I probably would resign too. Either that or I would tell everyone, look, you're being a bunch of
I don't blame
assholes.
him at all. In fact, I think he was too nice when he resigned. I really do. I think he was way too nice when he resigned, and he should have said what he was really thinking. Because I don't think he said what he was thinking at all.
Well, see, when he walked out, I don't know if you saw it or not, but he was singing Zippity Doodah, and he was like, "I can sing that every day now." And I was like, okay, that's vaguely racist, but okay. But
I think he was just happy. I think he was finally relieved. He's like, I'm free. I'm free.
see, like, what I wish he would have done is, like you said, actually speak his mind, and I think it would have been hilarious. I really think it would have been funny if he had walked out there and he was like, "Fuck all you bitches, I'm out of here," and then be like, "What are you gonna do?" Actually, just like Conan O'Brien did to CBS when he when he hosted
Yeah.
the Late Show, or NBC, yeah, NBC. I'm sorry, NBC. You know, I'm under contract, motherfuckers. What are you gonna do for 2 years? What are you gonna do? I'll do whatever I want to. And see, like he's already announced, October 30th will be the day he's going to resign officially. So what, what does he have to worry about? He could walk in there and do whatever he damn well pleases for the next, what is it, like 5 weeks? Who's going to stop him? Really, who's going to stop him?
I would have loved that so much. That would have, I would have, at that point, I would have been like, you know what, John Boehner, you run for president. You run for president. That would have, I would have seriously considered him for president at that point.
See, like what I've noticed, and I'm not sure why no one else has, is a lot of people that are Republican talk about Ronald Reagan. Honestly, I think that John Boehner is probably the closest living example to how Ronald Reagan would be in today's world. I really
I
do.
still say Ronald Reagan is a terrible, terrible president.
Well, I mean, like, okay, if you look at him, take away his reaction to the AIDS crisis for one. But
What
by
about when he destroyed unions or
well,
destroyed Medicare?
okay, well, by and large, his like just the way he
Or
responded
his
to people.
economic policies?
Okay, how about
Or the
immigration?
fact that his dealings in Iran actually made the situation worse?
Which, by the way, is ironic as hell because the Republican debates, the second one, were actually in front of his Air Force One. So that was the plane that he used to fly to Iran to make those deals. Hmm.
Or the fact that he gave weapons to the people that were fighting now
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
money.
Maybe comparing John Boehner to Reagan is not a good idea. Probably, I don't know. It might not be.
Every time I hear a Republican say that Ronald Reagan is a great president, I grow a little bit angry inside. Just a small. George Bush was a good president. George Bush Jr. was actually not the worst president ever, contrary to what people believe. Ronald Reagan was a terrible, terrible president.
Like I said on, I think it was our Monday show, he was actually better as the governor of Texas than I think he was president. Now, it's not that I entirely dislike the man. He has some decent qualities. It's the fact that I don't agree with why we went to war with Iraq. I really don't. I'm sorry. I did initially, but when I stopped drinking the Kool-Aid, I got kind of angry. And now looking back, everything that he made, everything that was done while he was in office, seems to all be tied to that, and I don't like it. It's actually caused me to have a lot of distrust in Republicans, and I've even voted for some Republicans since then because I thought, this person is not going to be the way these other ones were, and I've been very, very, very wrong more than once. But, John Boehner, I like him. I really do. He seems like a nice individual who actually cares, and I'm sorry to see him go. I actually am. I kind of wish he wasn't stepping down, but I completely understand because yesterday, talking to the Pope, I do think he realized that he could do better, and in fact, it was the Pope saying to him, "Thank you for all the work you've done." That I think made him realize, I probably can do better.
Yeah, it's. I realize he was very much hamstrung by the radical side of the right wing. His entire time in office, there was very little that he could do because without their support, obviously the Democrats would override anything he did. He's in a very, very awkward position where he needed the support of the radical right, but at the same time, he didn't exactly like what they wanted him to do. So it's a difficult thing to judge his job as speaker.
I just realized I was talking and had the mic muted. Damn it. But yeah, well, see, here's the thing. After he's gone, I think we'll be able to actually look back at what he's had to say and what he's done, and actually get the legacy part out of the way. But I really do wish he was not stepping down because he's consistently wanted to work with the president and wanted to work with the Democrats and actually accomplish something, and no one else seems to want to let him do that.
I'm really curious as to what direction the House of Representatives will go in now. Will they pick a more right-wing speaker, or will they go more center? Or it'll be interesting.
Well, if Louis Gohmert doesn't step down, I'm sure he'll be getting speaker, and at that point in time, I'll probably commit suicide.
As I've told you before, and as the Pope would tell you, suicide is not the answer.
I'm so I'm sorry. I've voted for Louis. He's not. See, okay. I think on his own he would not be a bad person. Like I think in his own way he feels that he actually is helping. But when you listen to what he says, it makes me realize that I live in East Texas, and there's a lot of people around here who say the exact same things, and I'm like, why did I ever vote for this man? Why? So when he, just like we discussed before, uh, he referred to the United States as the Great Satan. Might want to clarify that. Actually, I've asked for clarification 3 times now and haven't gotten it. But I don't think he's going to actually step down. Now here in like 2 or 3 weeks or so, he's actually going to be here in town where I live at a fundraising event, and I'm probably going to get a reservation to go try and meet with him and tell him how much I can't fucking stand him. But um, I'm really wondering if he's going to keep his promise and actually step down, because it does not seem to be that the Senate's going to block the Iran deal, and he's not getting his way. And I know he's not happy. But anyway, we're actually over an hour now. So you want to go ahead and have some final remarks, and that'll be it for the day, or what?
I'd like to thank the Pope for coming to visit and speak to Congress and all that stuff. And you're an awesome guy so far. Keep up the good work. And God bless America.
Actually, yeah. That's actually a good thing to say. Yes, thank you, Francis, for coming here. Thank you for trying to teach Christians to be Christians. Thank you for reminding me that even I can do better, even as someone who, like I said, has tried to be a good person all along. Thank you for helping John Banner to realize that he could do better, and all that good, happy, nonsensical stuff. And instead of saying what Nick said, I'm gonna say "E pluribus unum" because that should be what our motto is. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribe our video. Please message us on Facebook. Tell Nick how much you hate him. Tell Danny she needs to come back because I'm not sure she is. Like I said, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe this video. We'll talk to all of you, I guess, Monday. But yeah, tonight, Black Jesus. Tomorrow is Doctor Who. Big weekend coming up. Hopefully there'll be something we can actually talk about on Monday and Wednesday other than, nonsense. But yeah, thank you for listening. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.